I'm here today with my good friend Tiani Clyde. I wanted her to come on because she has so many cool things going on for her. One of the things that she has is Little Miracles Foundation. She actually helps tons of single mothers. And you know what's weird? I may have told you this. I was out to lunch with one of our friends. I didn't even know that you guys were friends, actually. I found this out at lunch, and she was like, "Do you know Tiani? She has this Little Miracles." I'm like, "Yeah, I know Tiani." And she's like, "They helped me. They put furniture in my house as a single mom." And I was like, that just makes me love her more.
Aw.
And I knew you had that, but it was just interesting that I was at lunch with a new friend, and she was saying there's this girl named Tiani. And I was like, I'm so proud of her,
Aw.
because you don't really like flash that to everyone. Like, you advertise it, but it's not. You don't like. I don't know. You don't wear it on your sleeve to like brag to people about what a good person you are and stuff. You really don't.
Well, it's because it's really not, it's not me. It is, I mean, I was involved, I created the idea, but I mean, what's amazing about Little Miracles, and even from the get-go, there's people that do more for Little Miracles than me and have for
Wow.
11 years. So it's just a movement for community. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
neighbors helping neighbors. It happens to be that we focus on single parent families.
Yeah.
After being a single parent myself for a lot of years, and honestly having like a really good situation with my ex-husband and everything, it still was so hard. And I
Yeah.
would find myself thinking, how do other moms do this that don't have a good relationship with their ex or good family to support you and stuff? And so, half of all families are, dealing with divorce of one way or another. A lot of kids are the ones who suffer. They're growing up without both parents in the home, and
Yeah.
it's tough.
It
But
is.
really, Little Miracles is a movement about community, and it's just coming together. We never promise anything. We kind of start every project like the very first one, saying, you know what, we're not funded by anybody. I'm not really sure what we can do. The idea in the beginning was, hey, we all have something to give and to offer that we're, have a talent or a skill. And I always like decorating houses or organizing things for people. And one day I was just at work and I was talking to one of my friends saying, it would be really cool to do. Well, it's something that planted a seed a little while prior that made me want to do something to kind of give back. When my son was a teenager in high school, I mean, talented, good-looking kid, a lot of friends, great in sports, all that. It wasn't anything major, but he was just struggling a little bit and trying to find some purpose. And I remember having conversations with him about just trying to, we all know the right thing, the answers, at least most of us, like try to get outside of yourself and help other people. And one day he said something about that, and I could tell he genuinely was trying. He just didn't know what to do. And I was talking to my business partner, a good friend of mine at the time, and he had a very successful company, and they had started a foundation in Brazil. And he said, why don't you guys go on a little, humanitarian excursion, and he told me all these amazing stories of how much it helped people. And they come back a couple weeks later, just totally transformed. And you hear amazing stories all the time. And I was so appreciative of the offer, but what that really did was it lit a desire in me to like create something that wasn't so far away, that not just me and my kids, but my friends and their kids, they could come to with us, and that we could do it more than once, And so anyhow, that's kind of where it started. And then just talking one day out loud, one of the agents in the office overheard me telling a friend of mine, like, we should just go like help a single mom and like let her go have a day with her kids, and then let's clean her house and decorate and she can come back and have the laundry done, and we'll make some, rearrange furniture, just have it. That would be so fun, right? I mean, it doesn't even cost money. It just takes time. And someone overheard us talking and said, hey, I think this is a really good idea. We should put this on my show. And I'm like, what? Like, what show do you have? And he was just starting a local real estate show.
Oh my gosh.
And the funny thing is, he called his camera crew right there, and he booked out his film crew for like 2 weeks later. And I'm looking at my friend, I'm thinking, I think he thinks we know what we're doing, and we're just talking about this. I don't even know I'm just talking out loud. But we just went with it.
Yeah.
And I've always said, I think it was just meant to happen, because had he not done that, I would probably just still be saying, someday
Things happen for a reason.
when I have time, I'm going to get around to doing it. But that forced it. Then I was like, okay, a film crew. Now we really got to figure this out.
Doing.
But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. And we started out thinking we'll just do her laundry and clean her house. And hey, we know friends. I've been in real estate a long time. We know people who know how to fix a leaky faucet or a squeaky door or all those little honeydews. And within 2 weeks, literally, that turned into like a mini extreme home makeover.
Oh my gosh.
We got to know the family a little bit that we chose and the kids, and then we ended up asking them if they would be okay to go overnight somewhere, because we had people. There's just so many good people that are looking for a way to help and a family to serve and to be a part of something that, like, it turned into that so fast that we needed more time. So it ended up that we sent them up to Park City and had an overnight, and then they came back and it was like a new house.
What was her reaction? Or I'm assuming it was a mom. Was it?
Yeah,
a mom?
it was a mom.
Okay.
A single mom who was working 2 or 3 jobs, 5 kids.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? They were so, so grateful. I mean, so many things I can say about Little Miracles in general. This family in particular really set a precedence, because number one, they came to almost every single project after that. Their whole family, which was incredible, which I never expected. But one of the things that really surprised me too, I mean, here I'm like, of course they were so thankful for the house.
Yeah.
A lot of single moms are just doing their best to keep it going. And I mean, if you're working and you're focused on your children, as she was, we learned that very quickly, just getting to know some of the neighbors. She was the fun mom, birthday party mom, did all the things. Well, there's just not enough hours in the day to keep up on your home too. And, a lot of little things, go neglected because something has to give. And so, obviously she was so grateful. They all were. It's pretty special to see these kids walk into their bedrooms and somebody has taken time to learn about them, and they know what their favorite superheroes are, and they know their favorite colors, and they feel so special. I mean, these aren't even people that they know, but they feel that love, and that part's amazing. And obviously moms are so appreciative of a clean house and all the little honeydews, a lot of them checked off, and just it's such a relief. We've had multiple moms text and say, I think this is the first night I've slept through the night in years. Comments like that.
And just even having that emotional support, knowing that someone is there.
That's actually what I was going to get to was, I mean, that's all obvious and that's what I was hoping for, but I wasn't thinking about what the connection part of it and the support aspect did. That was probably more meaningful for a lot of these families. And for the volunteers. This wouldn't have kept going all these years without volunteers begging for it.
Wow.
They needed it.
People are so good.
People are amazing. And a lot of times, I don't know if you know this, our little theme song, which there's so many little things that just happened that were meant to be. But before we even started, I was laying down with my daughter one night trying to get her to sleep, and I'm flipping through my phone, and I saw this video. It's David Archuleta. If you're out there, David, I've been trying to get a hold of you for years. His mother has came to our projects and things like that. But he was singing the song Glorious. And the video of that song.
That's my son's favorite song, by the way.
Oh.
He sings it every single day.
He does?
My little 6-year-old, every single day.
Like, people who get it, they feel something with that song.
Yes.
Like, and your son must feel it. That song spoke to me instantly. And the words are so powerful because it really is talking about, well, first of all, it starts out with like, sometimes you just don't know where your place is, and you just feel a little lost. And, if there's one thing everybody wants to feel in life, I think it's purpose.
Wow.
Like, of some sort. And so that song is just about everyone just finding their little piece of it and finding their purpose. And it says, as you start to wake up, those around you will start to wake up. and they'll find that purpose in their heart too. And so, like, I honestly get kind of,
I know, I got chills
we
just knowing.
play that
Love that.
song, and we have since day one. That's our anthem when the family comes home.
Oh my
We work
goodness.
hard, and then we have a dance party. So we have a
Yeah.
DJ. We're like doing the YMCA. We got all the neighbors. We're all wearing red. We got red
I
balloons,
love
and we're
it.
just partying. We're so happy. It's so amazing. And the family comes back, and we try to treat them like the royalty. Everyone deserves a day to feel special. That's what we tell. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't know. Pick someone else." I'm like, "No, it's just your turn." We're
This
not.
is what I love about you though, Tiani. Like you could have been like, no one did that for me when I was a single mom, but instead you're like, I want to go do this for single mom because I know what it's like to be a single mom.
Yeah, well, and it's just really, truly, I'm not just saying it, like the volunteers are really, well, hopefully everyone's blessed, but the volunteers who get to do it, we really are the ones that walk away with the biggest blessings. I mean,
Wow.
you know, obviously success and money and all those things, like it's great to feel that in life, but you know, money comes, money goes,
Yeah.
people come, people go, all these things. And I'm like, the things that I feel the most grateful for, honestly, and like that have changed me the most, like are those little moments where you actually realize you did make a difference for somebody, or you get a message and people that were someone that was suicidal, and then they responded to a message you sent and inviting them to come to this, and then they felt something.
By being one of the people serving and helping.
Yeah, they
Wow.
felt purpose. That I got in trouble once for saying forget therapy
Yeah.
for a minute, because you can go to 6 months of therapy and learn about yourself,
Yeah.
and sometimes we need that. But or you can just come out on a Saturday, forget about yourself, and you're gonna walk away with something.
Okay, I literally have chills right now. I'm not kidding. When I was getting ready in the bathroom this morning, I know I have to like every once in a while I post these little clips of me saying little things, and I've had this feeling for weeks now that I need to post a clip that says I know that self-care is important and self-love, and there's been so much push on self-care, selfie, all this stuff. But really the thing that's helped me personally, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, the thing that has helped me the very most when I'm going through a hard time is to forget myself and to get out and help someone. It's so interesting you just said that. I was literally thinking about that this morning.
Yeah. Well, and it's automatic, because the more we turn inward, and like I say, sometimes that's great and all, but like it almost becomes more of an obsessive thing. Like we're
Yeah.
never going to be quite there. We're never going to
Right.
feel perfect and great.
Right.
And it's sort of like, to be, biblical. Like
Yeah.
there's one of my favorite scriptures is like the unquenchable thirst. Why do you not think that greater is an endless happiness? I'm
I know what you're talking about.
than that misery which never dies
Yeah.
because of the praise of the world.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's an interesting way to phrase that, because you think the praise of the world is great. You must have done something great. You got the praise of
Yeah.
people and all that. But it leaves you with this unquenchable like feeling like of wanting more. And I don't know. I feel like this is the one thing, at least for me, that you do know. You know something you did mattered.
Yeah.
And when you feel like someone else felt that too, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you the many texts and messages, people that one time these young guys came, and they were there helping. A lot of times people just come to check it out, and then
Yeah.
they end up realizing it's kind of cool when they're
Yeah.
helping out,
Yeah.
and they said, I don't know what that was I felt today, but I need more of that in my life. Things that you
Selflessness.
can never, you figure it out. It's like the song Glorious, just show up.
Yeah.
Just come, and you'll be amazed at what you'll walk away with, because something magical happens when you do forget about yourself and you just start just where you're at, doing what you can. That's what's beautiful. You don't have to bring money, you don't have to
Yeah.
bring a specific skill. Everyone has something.
Yeah.
That's another thing I love. One time I got a message from someone that said, I never thought this side of 50 I would learn what my purpose is in life. Like sometimes you don't know what you're good at, and this particular person, we we joked that we never let him have tools. He wasn't good at measuring. He wasn't really good with the painting. We're like, okay, you need to stay away from that. But he was really funny and fun, and he was fun with the kids that would come, and he would think of funny little activities to do. And before you know it, we put him in charge of, like, we have a little committee that is just for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We call it the Neighborhood Love Mob.
Yeah.
And we get the kids together and we let them be a part of all of this, because sometimes they're in the way. We don't want them to feel that way, but we want them to stay busy.
Yeah.
Like, they say the happiest person at the end of a service project is the one whose hands are dirtiest. Like,
Right.
you want to stay busy. So we rally the kids and they go around door to door in the neighborhood. And usually we put little flyers so the neighbors know there's going to be a party on Saturday, like, be prepared so they're not frustrated with all the cars and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have these little jars that say change for change, and we just let the kids have a moment to go talk to the neighbor and say, hi, we're with Little Miracles, and we're in your neighborhood today. Do you know the Jones family? We're just helping them. You should come and welcome them home at 4:00. That's when they're coming. Like, wear red and come say hi. But in the meantime, can we, shovel your walk, or can we pull some weeds, or can we do something for you?
Oh my God.
So the kids are staying busy doing something in the neighborhood. And then they say, and if you want to, here's a little change for change jar. This will, just have them, get them to feel like they did a little bit to help with this effort, And sometimes if we're needing something at the end, we don't necessarily have money left, and the kids are so excited to be like, hey, we got $100 from the neighbors. What do we need? And they feel like they were a part of it. It's pretty cool.
That is so cool.
So one of the guys who just came and wasn't sure what he had to offer realized, hey, I'm kind of fun with these kids. Who would have thought? So we started letting him be in charge of doing the community stuff.
We all have different strengths and weaknesses. What a beautiful concept.
That's what's awesome. And that's what the song Glorious talked about. Like, I didn't even know that would be a thing. And when that song just spoke to me, it was just so beautiful, so powerful. But wow, the words have proven to come true in such a powerful way. Like, yeah, we do all have something. Yeah. And that is what life's about. It's not really about self-care or making a little more money or doing a little more something cool here. It really...
Or likes or follows.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's always somebody with more.
Right.
So you get to that next level, and I watch it, and people sometimes like, oh, now I got to get to that level. Now I got to get even more.
The rat race.
And it's like, oh, it's such a wonderful feeling to just have that peace and that sort of, I don't know, I call it like a confidence, a God confidence, something like it comes that's within, because you just can feel good about knowing you did something. And a lot of kids, half our projects are kids and teenagers. They genuinely, I feel bad for them. At least we grew up knowing how to form a relationship and how to do things like that. These kids are growing up not really knowing that.
Oh yeah, because they're stuck to their phones. And
and it's all done so differently.
So
and then
scary.
To see them come out and truly feel so good about themselves.
Yeah.
And like, we should have kids on these podcasts to tell their stories of what kind of experience they've had and what they've been inspired to go and do on their own after. It's incredible. And they learn to connect with each other. And then there's a lot of kids that have gone through hard stuff. We've had, dads who've committed suicide. Oh. We did a project once for this amazing family. And then same thing. Every time we had a project for a while after, they would show up, couldn't wait to be a part of the next one. Even though they were still very much grieving and dealing with the struggles that come from such a sad situation. Did it help them
to?
Well, it was amazing. One time the news came, and it was a snowy day, and they came and were talking to me, and the guy was just confused. He's looking around. He goes, "What? Why are there so many kids here? What's going on?" And he's like, "Are they part of what you guys are doing?" Like, he genuinely was confused. It was a blizzard out. Yeah. And I said, "Yeah, they want to be here." And I said, "Why don't you go ask one of them?" Just so happened he went to one of these beautiful little girls whose dad had took his life maybe 6 months earlier.
Oh my goodness.
And we did a little project for them, and he didn't know that. And he went up to her and started talking to her, and it was just powerful. Of course, I was like so emotional knowing what she'd been through. And he said, why are you guys here? Aren't you cold? Like, what are you doing? Trying to get her to talk. And she said, Yeah, but when our dad died, people came and helped us, and we just love to come and help people.
Oh,
And it was just like, that's it right there. Nobody's putting them up to this. We don't tell people you have to, if we do a project for you, you have to come and, no, they want to.
wow.
And these children want to, because now this sad thing that they went through that was just no fault of their own. These poor kids, like, who grow up in these environments, whew. That was one thing, even in a good divorce and everything. My son, when he was leaving to go on a mission to Madagascar, and I was trying to give him pep talks. You're going to be okay. This, and, make people your home and your family. I don't know. I'm trying to think I'm going to give him a pep talk. He goes, Mom, I'll be fine. I've been homesick my whole life. And it
Oh,
took me a minute to understand what he meant. And then even a divorce like mine, where we had no attorneys, no drama. We lived in the same neighborhood, for heaven's sakes. My kids went back and forth on a golf cart. They had it as good as could be. My son said, I'm homesick. I've been homesick my whole life. I'll be okay. I knew what he meant, because when he was a little boy, he'd say, when I'm with Dad, I miss you. When I'm with you, I miss Dad. I mean, 20 years later, it still chokes a mother up. And there's a lot of kids that are having it way harder than that. It's not their fault,
Yeah.
And yet the beautiful thing is, when they get involved in this, and they're something switches in a person, young or old, when instead of, like, it's wonderful to be served, but all of a sudden, when I watch these kids get to be a source of inspiration or hope for the child that they just met, who just went through this, and maybe they're a little further along in the process. And it's all of a sudden, instead of something so sad that happened to them that maybe they feel shame for, embarrassed, whatever, now it's like, no, I've been through this and I want to help you. And it's giving them purpose.
And I have a question. Were your parents divorced or no?
No.
Okay, so you had this, like, kind of healthy, stable upbringing, and then when you got divorced, now your kids are experiencing that. I'm empathizing with your kids, hearing your son say that, because my parents were divorced, and I know how incredibly difficult. It doesn't even matter that half the country has gone through divorce, because it doesn't change how difficult it is. It can be so hard. So the fact that he is willing to take that pain and use it to love other people and have empathy is so beautiful.
Yeah, I think if you haven't been through it,
Yeah.
I didn't know. And I thought, well, our divorce was so good and so, like, it
Amicable.
wasn't drama, It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's painful.
It's still really hard for kids,
Yeah, it's really hard.
And imagine the ones then that are even,
Yeah.
no wonder it's hard out there.
Yeah.
So
hard.
yeah. And I also think it's just hard to know, unless you've been there, what it really is like to be a single mother.
Yeah.
And to be feeling the burden, and to, it's one thing to have friends and people to talk to, but at the end of the day, you get your kids to bed, and you're all alone, and you're feeling the weight of the burden of
Finances,
just all that
and
you have to
everything.
do, and just sometimes just wanting to know you're not alone. And I mean, that's been a really beautiful thing about the organization too, is, gosh, I remember many times, it's your first holiday, you don't have your children. I mean, you know how hard that is for moms, dads, everyone. But now you have a little community, and it's like, hey, who else doesn't have their kids? Let's have a little Thanksgiving together, and it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. There's been some wonderful single dads, and married too. This isn't just a club for single parents. I mean, it's for everybody. But it's been awesome to see these men that step up when they come to these projects, and they recognize, if it's a numbers game, the moms are outnumbered. The moms a lot of times are the ones, that wasn't my situation, but a lot of times the dad's not around at all. Right. And the mom is trying to help the kids. And even just little things, it just warms my heart. And I don't even think these men realize what they're doing when they take these kids and teach them how to fix a sprinkler.
Oh, yeah.
Or let me show you. I've seen cute little 13-year-old girls with the power drill learning how to put hinges on a door. And I'm like,
that's so
I love
cool.
you. Like these men that recognize that's what their role is. Yeah. I'm here to, like, take a little extra interest in these kids and let's let them walk away learning a little skill.
Yeah.
They feel good about themselves.
Now you have a segment on TV. Is it on KSL or what is it on?
Well, are you talking about the show that
Yeah,
they
I was
did?
wondering, is this from Little Miracles or is it a different, your real estate side?
Okay, so the ironic thing is it started that story I was telling you about
Yeah.
the guy. He was a real estate agent in my office who
Yeah.
had this local show
Yeah.
called Real Estate Essentials, and we featured Little Miracles on it the first
Yeah.
time. For a couple different reasons, that show was just starting, and part of just a couple personal things, we ended up not doing the show after that. We decided to just do it without being filmed. It's been a crazy thing just in the past couple months. I ended up leaving my real estate brokerage and going somewhere else, not knowing or expecting. It was the same person that had poked his head in over at that is the broker of the place that I'm at now. And so he remembered Little Miracle. We haven't started doing that yet, but they have offered with ABC4 to highlight, and film some of our segments, because honestly, like at the end of the day, people love before and after makeovers.
Yeah, they
it's
do.
awesome. There's a lot of talented people out there. I mean, we really have done, actually a couple of our things have been featured nationally. There was a write-up in People magazine once. There's been a show, Mike Rowe, I don't know if he is on Returning the Favor. He did a little show about our foundation.
So
there's a lot of talented people, so there's some pretty cool
Yeah.
before and after makeovers. But the only thing better than that isn't having a show about that with just volunteers and neighbors doing all the work. It's not Ty Pennington or whoever from HGTV.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to evolve into doing that as we go, which will be fun.
You know what? You keep saying the line at the end of the day, because what you're talking about is the things that actually really matter. And what you don't have to get into this if you don't want to, but I know you personally. And so I know the things that we've talked about. You had an offer to be on a large scale TV show that you decided to not do because it wasn't right for you and it was not right for your situation. But you turned it down for things that you felt really mattered. I have so much respect for that. And this is nothing against anyone who is, because I have other friends who are also still filming for that. But I love that about you, because you're like, you know what, I want to focus my time on things that will help others instead of build up my own name. And that I just love that about you. And so Little Miracles is this extension of you. And I hope people know that this is all sincere. This is all from you. This is not like, I want to say that I started this foundation and I'm so kind. And it's not like that. You just are that kind. Like,
Well,
so amazing.
I hope that comes across, because I do feel sometimes bad that I get to be the one that's asked to talk about it. And I always say I never want to turn down an opportunity if it's a Boy Scout group or a school or a show or whatever. I will always take the opportunity, but I'm also telling some of the other people on our board that they need to, because I'm grateful that I felt to do it and started talking, but there really are so many people that are bigger part of it than me, even, that have helped keep this thing going. And everyone there, is truly there. Everyone comes for different reasons. I will say that. Some people, hey, maybe they showed up just to take some pictures and do whatever. But you know what? That's okay. That's a start. And they felt something.
Yeah.
And they'll be back, or they'll do their own thing. We don't even get to see that ripple effect, but I am grateful to be able to talk about it, and I hope that, whether it's with Little Miracles or something else, it inspires people to do something. It is harder than you think sometimes to know what to do.
Oh, and to orchestrate all of that. That's I was already picturing that. I'm like, if you're the one in charge and everyone's like, okay, what do I do? And you feel all that pressure to let them know, okay, I need you to be doing this. And
well, it's you have to appreciate a little chaos if you're going to show up on these, because it's a lot of times people are amazed that we actually pull it off, because it doesn't seem very organized. But you know what? The name itself was quite profound, I must say. It came to me one day talking to my mom on the phone. I'm like, that's what it is. Because they were trying to have something to do with houses, home this, home that, and I said, it's not really about the house.
Yeah.
The house is important because it is your home and you want your children to feel a sanctuary, but it's not that. It's something else. It's something bigger than a house. It is, so Little Miracles is, but I say this all the time. Like, I've always believed in miracles. I've always been a silver lining type of person. I try to anyways.
I
Like
love that about you.
when there's hard things, I'm always like instantly like, oh, this is gonna be a cool story one day.
Yeah.
How am I gonna get out of this predicament here? It'll be really cool when I do. I don't know how, but I mean, but the thing that's amazing is like I have seen more miracles like through this
Wow.
because there's something about when you're seeking a miracle and you're praying with other people. Sometimes we do that for a miracle to happen, to pull something off or do something for someone else. It's amazing how many times it happens.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily happen in my own life when I'm like needing myself something.
Yeah.
It happens though over and over in bigger ways than I was ever imagining for others.
Wow.
And it's pretty amazing. We could do a whole podcast. Someday I want to have a little table book because the things people show up with that they had no idea. The special little there's story after story after story. And
People showing up with something you guys needed.
something that we needed,
Wow.
something they felt compelled to do and get. I mean, I could honestly tell you so many stories. Things from, sometimes there's a loved one that's passed on. And there's things that I know have come through somehow, some way to somebody that was trying to help that, that felt like that's from that loved one. I don't know how that happens. I don't know what to even say about it other than I just know that it's real.
Yeah.
And there's that when you truly, truly forget about yourself and you are trying to serve somebody else and you combine forces with a group that's doing the same thing and you pray about that too. Yeah. It's amazing. Why would God not answer that type of call?
Totally.
Of course he will.
To help someone in need,
of course he will. He will do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, he will.
So that's the other wonderful thing. A lot of the people that I have known and become family through this organization, the ones that stepped up the first time, I mean, here I have 2 weeks. I'm just texting people, hey, what do you got going on this Saturday? Do you want to come help? I don't know what I'm doing. The people that said yes, sure, I'll come help. I don't know what you're doing, but tell me what you want. I didn't even know most of the people that well. Wow. But it's amazing because those are the kind of people that you want around you. Yeah. Those are the kind of people that have made a lasting impact, and we all have times we're feeling a little down, maybe a little lost, maybe a little, like progress is stalled or something. Yeah. Reach out and find somebody that you want to be around, someone that you admire even from afar. I mean, honestly, can we say that this manifested because I was feeling that just not long ago. Yeah. I come across your little podcast. It jumped out at me. I've never told you this. It was like bright colors in the background and all the others are just kind of muted colors. And I was like, what is this? Like with this bright, happy stars or whatever the heck. And one of your first ones I listened to, I think it was Randy Garn, and you guys were talking about how important it is to have good people around you. And like, just, if you're stuck or you're feeling like you need help, like maybe, ask if you can talk to somebody or ask if, you can help with something and try to learn from someone else. And I like reached out. I'm like, can I be your friend? Because I was so just touched by just what I heard.
But I could instantly see how amazing you were too. So I was like, yeah, let's meet up. Like it just was this instant connection.
Like, oh my gosh. But like, that's amazing what it does for your life. Like we all need those friends that like
real
lift
friends.
us up, and help you. We all, even as great as things are, sometimes you still have those times in life, And so there's nothing, at least that I've found. I mean, if there is, somebody tell me what it is, but service, true service that, you can know you did something, and just being around good people. Those are the best ways to elevate your life.
I love that you just said that because I was about to ask, let's end with you giving advice to a single parent who's struggling right now, but I think you just gave it, which is as hard as it is, especially as a single parent, do what you can do, but forget yourself and go serve someone else, and then surround yourself with good, genuinely good people, and things will look up. They always do. Yes. No matter what the hard thing is.
Oh, wow. You just reminded me one of a really hard time in my single mom days. In fact, I hadn't thought about it until my son just had, I'm a grandma now, as you know,
Cannot believe.
a
Hottest
baby the
grandma
other day.
ever.
Oh no, not around here. Sheesh. I had kind of forgotten, and I was actually talking to my family a little bit because my daughter, I was a single mom when I had her. So I already had 2 boys
Ugh.
and had my hands full, and then had my daughter. And I mean, talk about like, I mean, I was listening to my son talk about, the first couple days at home and how his wife was, it was really rough. She hadn't slept at all, and how he took the baby and let her have some sleep, and like what a difference it made. And I was remembering, man, those were hard days because I didn't have anyone there, and my daughter was a tough little baby. And I remember feeling like, I was literally negotiating with the power company regularly just to keep the lights
Ugh.
on in my house, and I mean, I'm the eternal optimist, maybe sometimes to a fault, because I was doing real estate, and I was like, this deal's gonna come through. Well, I'm gonna have this. But it was also, my daughter was born in '07. I got my license in '06.
Oh no.
I had
So
just been
right before
divorced.
'08.
Everything
Oh
crashed.
gosh.
Everybody was jumping ship. I tried to think of another job, but I couldn't think of what to do with my baby. I didn't want to leave her at a babysitter's. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I kept hanging on, but I had no idea how long it was going to be of a struggle. And just how there were days that I thought, I don't know if I'm really going to get out of this. I I really don't. I had to sit my boys down one day because I don't have family in Utah. And I said, guys, I didn't want to scare them or anything, but I was like, we might move to Colorado. Would that be fun? And we could live with grandpa and grandma for a little while, like trying to spin it, like, because I
Yeah.
thought I might need help. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm going to be able to hang on to my house. I don't know if I can do this. And my oldest was like, no, like, I don't want to leave my friends. Well, I'll
Yeah.
stay with dad. And I'm like, okay, that's not an option. That's not an option.
Yeah.
Like, I got to figure this out. But
Wow.
sometimes you can be, and I know a lot of single moms relate to that. You're doing all you can, and you just don't know what else to do. And that's how I felt. But I remember hearing someone say, and it stuck in my mind, and this day I must have needed to hear it: the storm always ends. Like, it really does. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. And sometimes if I had to know how long it would last, it's probably good I didn't, because
Yeah. Right.
you're always thinking, okay, it could be different tomorrow. Like, things are going to turn around with this. But just keep hanging on and do your best. And sometimes that's hard too. But that's why these projects are so great. And I really wish that we could do them all the time in every neighborhood,
Yeah.
because that's really what the world needs, honestly.
Wow.
Because everybody would have a little community then if we could do that. I haven't figured out how to do it yet like that, but
But
there's
you're doing
people
amazing
around there,
things.
and find just, you know, if you're a person of prayer, I believe in it. Pray that, like, those are prayers. Of course, God's going to answer that prayer. If he didn't answer that prayer, why would he not lead you to people that are going to help you get through that time?
They're all
Until
around
that
us, people who
storm
need
ends,
help.
there are people just wanting to help and be a support and a lift, and you just need to be open to asking to find them, I guess,
Yeah.
and just knowing they're out there, and you'll get through it. You really will. It might be just inch by inch, but that's honestly the other beautiful thing is, if you can think about it. I think about this sometimes. I know it sounds cheesy, but if we really can look at our struggles as, like, God looks at them, like, it's an honor.
Yeah.
It's an honor. Like, you got to earn your stripes somewhere if you
Yeah.
want to, have the big reward someday. Why would we think we're going to come down here and just have a picnic every day? Like, I mean,
Right.
if God trusts you with a challenge that feels overwhelming, it's because he needs you to get through it and then help other people.
Wow.
Because no one's really equipped to help those going through than those that have been there,
Right.
really.
Right.
Because unless you know what that struggle is like, and you've been on your own as a single mom, and you're wondering how to keep your lights on, you probably don't really know. And so, like, that's an honor, and know that God wants to see you through it.
Yeah.
So you can get on the other side. We're not meant to live in that forever, but it's an honor to go through some of that, because now you really are in a place. What does Ed Milet say? Like, you're the best person to help someone is the person who used to be
Yeah.
in that space, because
Yeah.
you truly know. And so if you can look at it that way, wow, it really does change your perspective and gives you this little hope that, oh, wow, to think that I can get through this and then help others. That's what life's about.
That's so awesome. And this is what I love about you. This is how she is when we go to lunch or go to dinner or something. This is not, seriously, this is like how you always talk. You're so positive and full of life and wanting to help people. And even, it's so funny, even on the texts that I get from you, they always have smiley faces and exclamation points and
I get a
so
lot of
full of happiness. I love
crap
that.
about that.
No.
I don't know how to type
Don't
a
change
text
it.
without an emoji. Sorry, guys.
Don't change it. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank
and I
you.
can't wait for people
You're
to see how
amazing.
amazing you are.
Aw.
Love you, friend.